Imagine trying to build like a magnificent sprawling house, right? But you only have this massive pile of bricks and absolutely no mortar.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare.
Right. And that is exactly what learning a new language feels like when you hit that, that intermediate plateau.
Yeah, you have this huge vocabulary.
It's like all these individual words, but no structural grammar to actually hold them together.
Yeah.
And so what happens? The moment you try to have a real spontaneous conversation, the whole thing just collapses.
It's incredibly frustrating. And I mean, it's a very common wall that learners hit. You have the raw materials, but you just don't have the connective tissue, which is exactly why the subtle distinction between phrases like getting married and being married trips up so many students. Without the structural logic, they look like the exact same brick.
Yeah, they really do. Well, welcome to today's deep dive. Today is Friday, July 17th, 2026. And our mission today is to take that loose pile of language bricks and show you how to turn it into a fortress.
I love that, a linguistic fortress.
Right. So we're analyzing the latest class notes for the English Conversations course from AcademiaBSB, which is this incredibly innovative online English school.
Truly.
And if you were navigating the CEFRL B1 level, like Beatrice and Nguyen from group T243, who, by the way, this material is totally custom tailored for, then you know exactly how crucial this threshold is.
Oh, for sure. B1 is such a fascinating stage. It's that magical line where you transition from just surviving in a language.
Like ordering food or whatever.
Exactly. Asking for directions, that kind of thing. You go from that to actually expressing your personality and your, complex experiences.
Yeah.
But to do that, it requires a massive shift in how you look at words. So today, we're going to unpack your vocabulary. We'll master some tricky pronunciation, take a quick brain break.
Much needed.
Always. Then we'll tackle present perfect grammar, analyze a reading text, cover a writing exercise, and finally, tally up today's gamification stars.
It is a packed deep dive today. Let's start with that vocabulary, actually. Let's unpack that getting married versus being married example from the past class review, because I see learners swap these out constantly, but they paint two entirely different pictures.
Right, because English is just completely obsessed with the difference between an action and a state of being.
Oh, absolutely.
So getting married is the action. It's the transition. It implies the ceremony, the cake, walking down the aisle like, I am getting married next week.
Okay, the event itself.
Exactly. But being married is the ongoing state that follows the event. I have been married for 5 years. And, I mean, the same mechanism applies to getting pregnant versus being pregnant.
Right, so one is the transition into the state, and the other is the state itself. It completely changes the timeline of your sentence.
It really does.
And speaking of timelines, there was a great moment in the class timeline challenge where you had to sort times of day, and the notes highlight the phrase midnight lunch.
Oh, right. This is where we see that vocabulary isn't just about direct translation, right? It is about cultural logic.
Yeah, because midnight lunch just sounds so weird.
It's factually incorrect, and it sounds highly unnatural to a native speaker. Lunch is intrinsically a midday meal. It's tied to the position of the sun.
Right, so if you're eating at midnight, it's, a late night snack?
Yeah, a snack, or perhaps just a very late dinner, but never a lunch.
Never a lunch. Words carry an environment with them. Which brings us to the current class vocabulary you're all integrating. We have pour down, half, heard, around, wonder, wrong, and through.
A great list.
But instead of just listing these out, let's look at the mechanics of why these specific words matter for a B1 learner. Let's start with pour down, which refers to heavy rain. But why do we need pour down when we already know the word rain?
Because communication is about precision and, intensity. B1 is about graduating from basic descriptions. You don't just want to say, it is raining. If you say, we couldn't go to the park because the rain started to pour down, you are conveying the volume and the actual force of the water.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And to expand on that spectrum, I'd actually add the verb drizzle. It means very light rain.
Oh, that's a good one.
So now you weren't just saying rain.
Yeah.
You have a whole sliding scale from drizzle all the way up to pour down.
Exactly. Precision is also key with a word like half, meaning one of two equal parts. Think about a word you might expand it with, like fraction. A fraction is just a piece of a whole, but a half is mathematically equal. If you tell someone you ate half the pizza, that's a very specific amount of guilt you're taking on.
That's a lot of pizza guilt, yeah. Now, wait, I want to challenge one of these words. The notes emphasize the word wonder. meaning to desire to know something or feel curious, like, I wonder what time the train arrives.
Right.
But honestly, I hear students use think instead all the time. If I say, I am thinking about the weather, isn't that basically the same as wondering?
It's a great question, but there is a crucial nuance there. Thinking is just the cognitive process. Your brain is active.
Okay.
But wondering carries a specific emotional weight. It implies a gap in your knowledge that you actively want to fill. It's curiosity mixed with slight uncertainty.
Oh, I see.
And if you want to push that even further, consider the word ponder.
Ponder.
Yeah, you wonder about the train schedule, but you ponder a major life decision.
Yeah.
Pondering implies deep, heavy, sustained thought.
Ah, I love that. Ponder feels like wondering, but with a lot more gravity to it.
Exactly.
So let's look at a physical concept from the list. Through. The notes define it as moving in one side and out of the other side of an opening. We drove through the dark tunnel. I see students confuse this with across all the time. They'll say, like, we walked across the tunnel.
And this is where building a 3D mental model of English prepositions is just vital. Across is a two-dimensional movement over a surface.
Like walking across a bridge.
Right, or across a flat field. But through requires 3 dimensions. It requires an enclosure. You move through a forest, through a tunnel, or through a doorway. You are surrounded on multiple sides.
That makes so much sense. It's 2D versus 3D.
Yes.
Okay, we also have heard, the past tense of hear, perceiving sound. I heard a strange noise, which contrasts perfectly with listened.
Oh, for sure.
Because you hear a car horn passively, but you listen to a podcast actively. Intent is the difference. And finally, we have wrong, meaning not correct, which you can level up to the slightly more formal incorrect.
Now, knowing the precise meaning of these words is only half the battle. If you can't physically produce the sounds, that beautiful 3D mental model doesn't translate to the listener at all.
Oh man, English pronunciation. It can feel like a trap because the spelling often just flat out lies to you.
It's notoriously cruel.
Let's talk about the past class review and vowel shifts because this is pure physics. Take the singular child and the plural children. The spelling barely changes, but the mouth makes 2 completely different shapes.
Exactly. The I in child is a long diphthong sound, rhyming with mild. Your mouth has to move to make it. But when we add the plural suffix to make children, the vowel just collapses into a short I, rhyming with pill.
Wow. Yeah. Why does it do that?
It's about conserving energy. English is a stress-timed language. When we add syllables, we often shorten the vowels in the root word so we can keep the rhythm of the sentence moving quickly.
It's the language taking a shortcut.
Yes. And we see this with other tricky words from the past class, like weather versus weather. They sound identical but mean different things. Or other, birth, proof, responsible, develop, attention.
Yeah, and there are so many of these tricky pairs where literally 1 millimeter of jaw movement changes the whole word. For example, hard versus heard.
Oh, that's a classic one. With hard, your jaw drops open. Ah, but with heard, your lips tighten and your tongue pulls back for that tight sound.
Or what about were versus where?
Right, were is short and tight like her, but where opens up with an air sound like hair.
And then you have soon versus sun. Soon pushes the lips all the way forward for that long ooh like mood.
Right.
But sun drops the jaw for a short, relaxed, rhyming with the sun in the sky. And oh, my favorite trap, book versus bach.
Yeah.
Book is a soft, relaxed in the back of the throat. Bach, like the beer, drops the jaw entirely for a sharp oh.
It's wild. To master these, you really have to train your ear actively, almost like a musician tuning an instrument.
Well, Academia BSB actually have a really effective ear training formula for this. And we are going to do a quick loop right now to lock in today's current class targets.
Do it.
The formula is clear target word, context sentence, and then we lock the target word again. Listen to the physical shape of these words. Snow. The snow is falling softly. Snow.
Nice. Next is half. I will meet you in half an hour.
Half. Predicted. The weather report predicted rain. Predicted.
Enough. We have enough food for everyone. Enough. Notice the ah in enough making an F sound there.
English is so weird.
I know, and that exact same bizarre phonetic rule applies to the next word.
Okay, here we go. Tough. That was a very tough exam.
Canceled. The flight was canceled due to the storm. Canceled.
We traveled across Europe last summer. Drowned.
And through. She walked through the open door. Through.
Doing that repeatedly creates physical memory in your jaw and tongue.
Such an essential exercise.
Okay, we have our vocabulary bricks. We know exactly what they mean in 3D space, and we've shaped our mouths to pronounce them perfectly. But before we get to the heavy lifting of structuring these words into real sentences, let's take a quick brain break. Let that all sink in.
Good idea.
All right, and we are back. Welcome back to the deep dive. Before we dive into grammar, I have a quick scenario for you.
Oh boy, I'm ready.
The past, the present, and the future walk into a bar. It was tense.
Oh, that is awful. Just awful.
Thank you, I try.
But linguistically, very accurate, because that brings us to the mortar, the structural logic of the language.
Yes, units 24 and 28 in your class notes. We are tackling the heavyweight championship match of English grammar. Present perfect simple versus past simple.
Oh yeah, this is a big one.
I genuinely think this is the hardest concept for a B1 learner to grasp. Like, I always hear students say, if an action happened in the past, why do I need a special present perfect tense for it? Why can't I just say it happened and be done with it?
No, because, as we established earlier, English is obsessed with context. The core difference here is about relevance. The present perfect acts as a bridge.
A bridge.
Yeah. You use it when an action occurred in the past, but the result, the consequence for the time frame is still directly tied to right now.
Right.
Past simple, however, is for a dead finished period of time that has absolutely no active connection to the present.
This is where a visual analogy really helps.
Mm.
I want you to think of doors. Past simple is a closed door. You walk through it, you shut it behind you, and that timeline is sealed.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Paris in 2020. The door is closed. 2020 is over. But the present perfect is a door that is still wide open. The breeze from the past is blowing into the room you are standing in right now.
Oh, I love that imagery.
All right, I have lived in Paris. You aren't giving a date because the date doesn't matter. What matters is the experience that is currently informing who you are today. The door is open.
That is exactly how native speakers process it. Let's look at how this plays out in real-life contexts. In a workplace setting, present perfect is essential for status updates.
Okay, how so?
If you tell your boss, she finished her project yesterday, you are just stating a historical fact. But if you say, she has finished her project, you are telling your boss, the project is ready for you to review right now.
Ah, the relevance to the present.
Exactly. In your private life, you use it for immediate consequences. I've lost my ticket. You lost it an hour ago, but the panic you are feeling is happening right now.
Yes, the open door of panic.
Right. Conversely, in an academic context, you rely almost entirely on past simple because you are establishing sealed historical timelines. Wellington defeated Napoleon. Dead, finished, closed door.
Okay, so mechanistically, how do we build this? Affirmative is subject plus have, or has, plus the past participle, right? I have visited London. Negative just adds not. I haven't bought the newspaper today. Interrogative flips the subject and auxiliary. Have you been to the hairdressers? But then, we hit the irregular past participles.
Ah, yes. The fossilized remnants of Old English. Regular verbs just take an ed, like started. But the irregulars demand rote memorization.
Really do.
For the verb to go, the past simple is went, but the past participle used in present perfect is gone. Drink becomes drank and then drunk. You simply have to drill them until they sound natural to your ear.
Well, let's actually look at how a professional writer manipulates these two tenses to control the reader's emotions. You had a reading text called A Lonely Snow Day.
Ah, I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the setup is brilliant. A student is trapped at school during a massive snowstorm because their dad is a surgeon who is stuck in a long operation.
High stakes.
Very. Listen to how the author uses the past simple to create a feeling of absolute isolation. The author writes, after the bus riders left, the other kids got picked up by their families one by one. More than an hour passed since the principal's announcement. Only about a dozen kids from the whole school remained. We waited in the cafeteria. By the time we were down to 5, the school was closing and we had to wait outside.
It's incredibly effective. The author is exclusively using the past simple there. Left, past remained, waited.
Yeah.
Mechanistically, what this does is lock the main character in a dead, unchanging timeline. Every closed door of a past simple verb piles on top of the character. It creates this static tension. They are stuck in the past, waiting.
It leaves you with this heavy, unresolved feeling in your chest. The kid is just standing in the snow. But here's where we can use our grammar to change the psychology of the text.
Okay, what do you have in mind?
What if we broke that tension by opening a door to the present? Let's use the present perfect to give this story a happy ending.
Oh, let's do it. How about suddenly a snowplow roared into the parking lot. The door swung open, and there was my dad still wearing his green hospital scrubs. He jumped out and yelled, "I have never driven through a storm like this, but I have finally made it."
Yes, I have never driven, and I have finally made it.
Yeah.
He uses the present perfect to instantly connect his brutal past drive through the snow directly to the present moment of rescuing his kid.
Exactly.
It releases all that static tension into immediate relief.
Which is exactly why you need both tenses to tell a compelling story. And actually, this transitions perfectly into your writing exercise.
Oh, right, the lifestyle magazine.
Yeah, the goal is to act as a journalist for a women's lifestyle magazine, interviewing a classmate about their past experiences regarding relationships, work, and appearance. And you must use both the present perfect and the past simple to get the full story.
And because this deep dive is custom for Beatrice and Nguyen, we have to look at this through a generational lens. Interviewing a Gen Z learner like Beatrice is fundamentally different from interviewing a millennial like Nguyen.
It absolutely is. A Gen Z lifestyle interview might focus on rapid digital shifts or side hustles. You'd use the present perfect to establish the broad experience. Have you ever started a viral TikTok trend?
Okay, so that opens the door.
Right. Then you immediately switch to the past simple to drill down into the closed specific details. What did you wear in that specific video? Or how long did it take to edit?
Oh, I see. And for Nguyen, our millennial, the questions might target long-term career pivots or major geographical moves. You establish the baseline. Have you ever completely changed your career path? The door is open.
Exactly.
And you close the door to examine the mechanics of the event. Why did you decide to leave your first corporate job? General experience first, specific historical detail second.
And if you look at the teacher's enhancement insights in your notes, the goal isn't just to write these two sentences and stop. Academia BSB wants you to elevate the draft.
Right, take it to the next level.
It's about looking at, have you changed jobs? And realizing it's a bit flat. You enhance it by adding chronological markers and descriptive adjectives. It becomes, have you ever made a drastic career change in the last 5 years?
That is how you turn a pile of bricks into a beautifully designed house. And looking at the progress metrics for Group T243, Beatrice and Nguyen, you are both doing an exceptional job. You are solidly on track to mastering the B1 level.
But before we completely wrap up the academic analysis, we should touch on the behavioral science behind why you two are progressing so well.
Oh, my favorite part.
Specifically, the gamification system.
Yes. The Academia BSB stars, or estrelinas, it's not just a gimmick, it's a neurologically designed motivation loop.
Precisely. Language learning is a marathon, and the brain requires regular dopamine hits to maintain long-term focus. The school rewards you with points for in-class participation, completing off-class activities, and submitting homework. These stars attach to your user profile and help you climb the student rank ladder.
And there are real-world stakes here. With enough stars, you get access to monthly giveaways, books, pencil cases, mugs, T-shirts, and you can actually use your accumulated points to pay for future courses.
It's amazing.
So let's look at the Stars Won Today board. Beatrice, you earned a massive 14 stars today.
Wow.
And Nguyen, you snagged an incredible 17 stars.
That is stellar work from both of you. Huge congratulations. It proves you aren't just passively receiving the information, you are actively wrestling with it.
Keep stacking those stars. All right, as we bring this deep dive to a close, we always want to leave you with a final thought that pushes beyond the mechanics of grammar.
Hidden inside the verb form section of your source material is a very famous quote. It reads, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness."
Such a classic.
Yeah, this was written by Charles Dickens, and it's the opening line to A Tale of Two Cities, published in 1859.
It's one of the most iconic openings in all of English literature. But why bury it in a B1 English textbook?
Because Dickens is writing about profound duality, the extreme contradictory nature of life. And honestly, is there a better description of the journey to language fluency?
Oh, man.
So true.
It is the best of times when you finally understand a joke in English or you deploy the present perfect perfectly in a meeting. You feel brilliant. It is the age of wisdom.
Yes.
But it is simultaneously the worst of times when you stare at a list of irregular past participles or accidentally talk about your midnight lunch and you feel like you haven't learned anything at all.
It is the age of foolishness. But that duality is the process. Every moment of frustration, every mispronounced vowel is just the mortar drying. You have to experience both the best and the worst of it to actually build something that lasts.
Which aligns perfectly with the core philosophy of Academia BSB.
It does, because at the end of the day, whether you've mastered the difference between through and across, or you're still figuring out your past participles, remember the school motto. It's not only about the language, it's all about communication.
What stands out to you about the best and worst times of your own language journey? Let that question sit with you. Keep those doors of experience wide open, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.